let's start. Okay. So, what about the atom? If I'm going to start talking about the atom, what's found inside the atom? In the middle of the atom, I'm going to find the nucleus. This is exactly in the center. And if this is the atom, in the center of the atom, I want to best to be, I think now I'm clear. In the center of the atom, I'm going to find the nucleus. Who is rotating around the nucleus of the atom? You're going to find the electrons are going to be rotating around the nucleus of the atom. So once again, I'm going to have in the middle of the atom, I'm having the nucleus. Well, I'm going to find the electrons. They are rotating around the nucleus. Now, what are the types of particles that are found inside my nucleus? I have two types of particles. The first one is the protons, and the second one is the neutrons. But once again, I'm having, this is my nucleus. This is my nucleus, if you check. And then this is my nucleus. It's in the center of the atom. I'm going to have electrons. They are doing what? They are rotating around my nucleus. They are so fast. And inside the nucleus, I'm having two types of particles. The first one is the proton. The second one is the neutron. Type. What's the charge for the proton? What's the charge for the neutron? Proton, it means proton, it means positively charged. So what about the electron that is rotating around my nucleus? This is a negative charge body. And then the neutron, it is neutral charge, no charge. Once again, in the middle, I'm having the proton, it's positive. Again, I'm having the neutrons, which is neutral, no charge. And the electrons that are rotating around, it is a negatively charged body. Okay, type. Next, if I'm going to talk about the number or the how many electrons do I have, how many protons do I have, I'm going to find in the protons and electrons are always the same. Yani if I'm having, let's say, sodium is going to be having, let's say I'm having sodium is going to have two numbers, 23 and 11. I'm going to have 23 and 11. This is the big number and this is the small number. For sure, I'm going to use, for the number of electrons and for the number of protons, I'm going to use the small number. I don't care which number is up, which number is down. I don't care. I'm going to use the small number. Okay? So the small number, it is equal to the number of electrons. And again, it's equal to the number of protons. So when I ask you how many electrons for the sodium, you're going to say 11 electrons. Then how many protons are there? They are going to be 11 protons. Okay? But this means all the time my atom is neutral. What do I mean by neutral? Yani electrons are always equal to my protons, no charge. Yani if I'm going to check this element, I'm not going to find any charge above the sodium. Why there is no charge? لأنه electrons are equal to the protons, so it's neutral. Perfect. Type. What about if I'm talking about the mass of the atom? Where is all the mass concentrated? The mass of the atom is concentrated inside my nucleus. So this means in the electrons, because they are so light, all the mass is concentrated inside my nucleus. Type. What is found inside my nucleus? We said we have Mahmoud, we have proton and we have neutrons. If I want to check the mass of the atom, it's going to be total of protons and neutrons. لأنه all the mass is going to be concentrated here. Since electrons are so light, they are very light, so all the mass is going to be concentrated in the middle. But what are the types of particles that are found in the middle? Protons and neutrons. If I want to check what is the mass number, I'm going to say 23. What if I'm going to ask you, I'm having a big number. This is called a mass number. But is there any other number? Yes. Is there any other name for the mass number? Yes. I'm having another one more name. What do we call this name? What do we call the mass number? We call it nucleon number. Sometimes, Hamza, in the exam, he's not going to tell you mass number. No, he can tell you something else. What is the other name, Ya Farruh? Nucleon. So if he asks you, Mustafa, what is nucleon number? Nucleon number, it is the mass number. So what's going to be my definition? It is the total number of protons and neutrons because they are found inside my nucleus. It is the total number of protons and neutrons inside the nucleus of the atom. Right. We don't say it is the total number of protons and neutrons only. No, you need to say protons and neutrons inside the nucleus of the atom. Perfect. But what about if I ask you what's meant by atomic number? What's meant by atomic number? You need to say, in the exam, usually when they get this question, the students, what do? It is equal to number of electrons and number of protons. Sorry, this is wrong. Atomic number, it's equal to number of protons in the nucleus of the atom. Please don't say number of electrons and protons, or number of electrons or protons. This is wrong. When I ask you what's meant by atomic number, I know they are equal, but don't say electrons or protons, or electrons and protons. This is wrong. I'm talking about mark scheme answers. Yani for Cambridge and for Edexcel, I need to say, Lamar, it is the number of protons, don't say electrons. طب why I don't mention electron يا فروح؟ لأنه electrons sometimes they change. يعني sometimes for any element, the element can lose, can gain, can share. So the electrons somehow are different. Okay? So that's why I'm not going to talk about electrons. I'm going to talk about protons. لأنه protons are in the middle of the atom and they don't change. The number is always fixed. So it is equal to the number of protons in the nucleus of that. Type. Is there any other name that I can have for the atomic number? Yes, I can say atomic number or proton number. I hope this is clear. Type. The second question, he can get you this table. This again is a very important table. He may get you the proton, neutron, electron, ya Mahmoud, and he will ask you what's the mass or what's the charge for this particle. So what should I say, ya Muhammad? We said, the proton and the neutron, they have charge. Sorry, the proton and the neutron, they have mass. Okay, but since they have mass, so that's why I'm going to write here 1 and 1. But what about the electron? Like we said, the electron is very light. So I cannot say it's 0. This is a fatal mistake. Scientifically, since it's a body, this means it has a mass. So I should say, it has a mass. So I will say 1 over 2000. This is an option. Or I can say a 1 over 1837, يا ريتو. Or I can say 1 over 1840. I cannot say 0. Any of these choices, it's correct. Type. What about the charge? You can say, protons is positive, electron is -1, and the neutron is 0. If you write in the exam, in the charge 1, it's going to be it's not going to be counted. لأنه mainly it's a charge. يعني I need to write A مريوم. So once again, I'm saying, I was talking about the charge. If I'm going to ask you about the charge, I need to say for the protons, I need to say it's a +1. Don't say 1. No, you need to say +1, and the electron, you need to say it's -1. I hope it's clear. Okay? Right. Let's continue. What about here? If I'm going to ask you, Juju, please, I'm so sorry, but if I'm going to take question, we're not going to finish, mashallah. We're around 30, but we're not going to finish. It's not a normal class, it's a revision class. But you can just write, I said this at the beginning, you can just write the question. At the end, I'm going to take all the questions. لأنه already we are going to revise a lot of topics, 4 or 5 topics. يعني atom bonding, all the types of bonding. But this is going to be too much. But if you don't mind, just keep your question, just write it down so you'll not forget it. We'll keep it at the end. Thank you, Yajush. I appreciate it. Type. For hydrogen, as an example, I want here how many protons are there, how many neutrons are there, how many electrons are there. So what I'm going to do, stop it again. I'm not going to take any question for now. At the end, I'm going to take all the questions. So for hydrogen, how many electrons are there, how many protons are there, how many neutrons are there? Electrons here, as I said, it's equal to the small number, so it's going to be 1. The protons, again, it's going to be the small number, so again, it's 1. And then I want to get the number of neutrons. So what should I do for the number of neutrons? In a very easy way, I'm going to do, Muhammad, I'm going to subtract the big number minus the small number. So if you subtracted 1 minus 1, it's going to be 0. طب let's do this one. Boron is 5. This is the atomic number. And this is the electron. So for boron, the electron is 5. Again, the proton is 5. And if I want to subtract them to get the number of neutrons, it's going to be 11 minus 5. So it's going to be 6. Okay, and so on. I think this part is easy. No need to take time in this part. Type for any element. So if I'm going to check for any element, how the electrons are distributed inside my atom. The electrons are distributed around an energy levels, يعني energy levels that are surrounding my nucleus. يعني the first energy level, as an example, is going to take up to 2 electrons. يعني مثلا, let's say I'm having sodium. Sodium يا مريم is having, these are the numbers, اللي هما 23 and 11. So I'm going to use, يا مصطفى, the small number. So what's the small number? It's 11. So are the 11 electrons found in the same place? For sure, no. طب how they are arranged, يا ريتو? It is the first shell cannot take more than 2. So it is at the beginning, it is 2. And then the second shell can take up to 8. But since now it can take up to 8, I'm going to write 2 and then I'm going to write 8. Then the third shell is going to be the rest, to have the rest. I was having 11 electrons, I put 2 and then 8, so still one more electron. That's why I'm going to write 2, 8, 1. Is this the right configuration? No, it's not. We are going to know, if you're going to study AS chemistry, you will know this is not the right one. Honestly, to be honest, some students are going, inshallah, after we are going to get our A stars, we're going to continue for AS. So you will know this is not the right configuration. This is just because we are just grade 10, still it's not an advanced configuration. This is the simplest one. Okay, so again, the first shell can take up to 2 electrons only, cannot take more. The second one can take up to 8, and then the third can take up to, again, 8. Okay, but here all what I have was 11. That's why I put 2, 8, and 1. Right. From the number of electrons, can I know where is this element in the periodic table? يعني can I know, is it in which group? Is it in group 2 or group 4 or group 5? Can I know where is this element in the periodic table? Yes, I can know. How can I know? In a very easy way, I'm going to do it. I'm going to check the outer shell. The outer shell is going to give me indication about the group number. So when I say 2, 7, this means this element is in group 7. No, ya Dania, I'm not going to solve past papers. I said these revision classes are mainly for explanation. Already every Friday I give a free class for every Friday I give already a free class for past papers. So for now I'm going just to explain. A minute, because some students are joining. So these classes are mainly for explanation, okay? And I'm going to do, inshallah, for the ones for this week, I said it's free classes. Starting next week, inshallah, we are going to make a group for the ones who are going to complete the revision classes. And I'm going to, for the ones who are going to continue with us, we are going to do classes, we're going to do free classes for past papers. Yani every week, let's say this week, we're going to revise atoms and bonding. Wednesday, I'm going to revise how to write the formulas, let's say. Whatever the topics that we are doing, at the same week, we are going to do classes, past papers, free class for the ones who are doing with us, who are attending the revision classes. So we solve past papers related to the topics that we are revising. Till we are going to finish our revision classes, inshallah, 11 classes, we're going to end the syllabus. We're going to finish all the syllabus in 11 classes. So this means we are going to finish a lot of questions and all the topics. Then we are going to start full paper. Once we're done, inshallah, at the beginning of March, we're going to be done with all the topics, explanation from A to Z, and then we're going to do full past papers till the exam. Okay? Lucy is asking how much, يعني how long is this? Okay, Miss, ربنا يخليكي. You're most welcome, يا دودي. You're asking when does this class will end? I don't think so, less than 2 hours. I don't think so. هو normally the classes is 1 hour 13 minutes, but to revision classes a little bit, it's too much. يعني as you see, it's not only one topic, but it's going to be a little bit يعني too much data. That's why. Let's continue. So let's return back to our question. If I need to know where is this element in the periodic table, I need to know where is neon, where is fluorine, where is whatever the element is, you're most welcome. Where is the element? I'm going to check the outer shell. If the outer shell is having 7 electrons, this means I'm in group 7. If the element is having, let's say, 1 electron in the outer shell, this means I'm in group 1. Which period is it? Yani this means I know now the group number from the outer shell, which is group 7 as an example. If I need to know which period is it, I'm having here 2, 7. Yani I'm having 2 energy shells. But this means I'm in period 2. For the ones who didn't know or who don't know which groups are there, which periods, what are groups and periods from scratch كده, below the 0. If I'm having the periodic table, from up to down, these are groups, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, and so on. And from left to right, we are having periods, okay? Next class, inshallah, I'm going to get I have it now, the periodic table, so I can show you the elements, yani, while we are working. So from here, from left to right, these are the groups, group 1, group 2, group 3, and from up to down, period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4. So you can know, or you can decide where is the element in the periodic table, by how many periods and by how many elements in the outer shell. This is going to give you indication for the group number. Well, how many shells you are using, yani how many circles, how many energy levels. It's going to give you indication for the period. Okay, I hope this is clear. Right, let's continue. Here, that's what we said. Still, we have 2 parts for atomic structure before we go for bonding. The first question that all the time we're going to find for Edexcel and for Cambridge, what's meant by isotopes? This is a very common question. What's meant by isotopes? Isotopes, they are atoms of the same element, which is they are having same atomic number, but different mass number. You can say also they are having same proton number. As you see, all of them, like lithium, all of them, they have proton number 3, but they have mass number different. Here it's 6, here it's 7, here it's 8. So all of them, they have the same atomic number, but the mass number is different. Type. How this question is going to be in the exam and how many marks? Number 1, this question is going to be all the time, let's say question, and it's going to be a 2-mark question. 1 mark to say atoms of the same element having same proton number. You need to say, it's having the same number of proton. With the 2nd mark to say, they have different mass number or different number of neutrons. Type. The second question that we are going to have, Yarito, in our exam, do isotopes have the same chemical properties? Yani, do all lithium react similarly? Yes, they react similarly. But why they react similarly? Because all of them, it's lithium. But since it's the same element, they are going to react the same. Yani, if I'm having lithium, this is 3, so 2, 1. Well, this is again 3, yani 2, 1. Well, this is again 3, so again it's 2 and 1. This means, ya Mariuma, all of them, they have how many electrons in the outer shell? All of them, they have Ali. All of them, they have 1 electron in the outer shell. But since they have 1 electron in the outer shell, they are going to react the same. Yani, let's say, since this is a metal, it's going to lose electron. But all of them, they are going to react all of them, they are going to react similarly. Okay? In the exam, how should I answer this question? Because they have the same electronic configuration, because they have the same number of electrons in the outer shell. So that's why they react similarly. There was another question, how to prove isotopes are of the same element. So how can I prove this, Yalamor? I'm going to prove this in all of them, they have the same number of protons. This means, since they have, the same number of protons, it's the same element, automatic. Okay. Right. Our last question for the atom before we start bonding. The atomic, this one. the relative atomic masses. This is a very common question in the exam. All the time you're going to be asked this question for Cambridge and for Edexcel student. This is very common. What is the average atomic mass for chlorine? What is the average atomic mass for iodine, for any element? What's meant by average atomic mass? If you check in your periodic table, you're going to find in the chlorine, the mass number for chlorine is 35.5. So it's not a whole number. It's not 35, it's not 37. طب why it is 35.5? You're going to tell me, hey, miss, it's average. No, it's not. It's not an average. If I'm going to take average between chlorine 35 and chlorine 37, it's going to be 36. So I'm sorry, it's not an average. Well, what's this? Again, it's average, but it's not average with the mass numbers only. This is wrong. Listen about how we will do it. He is going to tell you in the chlorine, there is chlorine 35. Okay, this طبعا for sure this is the mass number, huh? في chlorine 35 and there is again another chlorine 37. Okay, فhe is telling you in the chlorine 35 is 75%. What do I mean by 75%? This is going to be given 75%, يا علي, this is the abundance. What do I mean by the word abundance? Abundance, it means the percentage, يعني how much is chlorine 35? So since it is 75, we call this abundance. Abundance, it means the percentage, يعني. Okay? The percentage of chlorine 35. Type here, the percent is 25%. So if I want to take average, I'm not going to take average between 35 and 37. No. If I take between 35 and 37, it's going to be what? It's going to be 36, which is wrong. I'm going to do what? I'm going to do 35 times 37, like this. 35 times 75 plus 37 times 25 over 100. I will show you now. This is how we will do it. So what did we do? 35 times 37, يعني I multiplied the mass number by the percent plus the other mass number by the percent divided 100. You need to divide by 100 because this is an average. And at the end, it's going to be 35.5. That's why we write it in the exam, chlorine 30, in the periodic table, chlorine 35.5. What do we call this? We call it average atomic mass. Type. This is for the, this part is related to the average atomic mass. So I think it's easy. So now we can go quickly and we will start ionic bonding. Okay? Well, as I said, if you have any question, just write it in a paper. Well, at the end, I'm going to take all the questions. طبعا the most common examples or the most common two types of bonding, it's going to be ionic covalent. Well, all the students are confused between, يعني, when you explain, when I do, مثلا, let's say, ionic bonding in a class, oh, miss, it's so easy. The second day I do covalent, oh, it's so easy. Once I'm going to give them an exam with mixed questions, oh my God, they are confused. Oh, طب how we solve this problem? This is the main target for the revision. And we are not going to do every topic separately. No, we are going to connect them together. So everything will be here. So when you see the question, oh, I got it. Why did I do this and I didn't do this? You got my point? This is the target for the revision. We even, inshallah, when we do the past papers classes weekly, I'm going to make it to stress شوية for the same points. And I'm going to show you, do you remember this part when I explained? This is the question. Do you remember this part? And so on. But by time, you're going to find it's going to become so easy. Type. Let's continue. Why do atoms already, they do bonds? Why? لأنه every element, they need to have a full outer shell. يعني for any element whatever بقى it's a metal it's a non-metal they need to have a full outer shell. If you can give me a minute I can get to the periodic table so you can understand more. 1 minute. Welcome back. So that's easier. I think now you can imagine with me more. This is the periodic table. If I'm having, I don't know you can see, I hope you can see it clearly. If I'm having, this is the periodic table, but it's a bigger one. We said before, in all this area are metals. Yeah, starting group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, all this area, they are metals. But what about the side? These are non-metals. So what's my point? If I'm having a metal from this side and a non-metal from this side, so 100% it's going to form an ionic bond. Once again, when you are having metal from here with non-metal from here, so it's going to form an ionic bond. But what about the elements in the middle? These are transition metals. But the elements in the middle, they are transition metals. So again, they will form ionic bond. Right. What about if both elements are from this area, non-metals, like hydrogen or chlorine, nitrogen and nitrogen, oxygen and oxygen, and so on, hydrogen and oxygen. If both elements are from this side, 100% it's a non-metal. This means it's going to be a covalent bond. Okay? So again, the main point or the main target that I want you to identify. So again, when I have two types of bonding, as we said, mainly if both elements are from here, yani one element from here, one element from here, metal or non-metal, so it is an ionic bond. If I find both from this side, so it's a covalent one. Type. The trick is, if I'm having hydrogen, لأنه sometimes the student, they don't know hydrogen. Hydrogen is a metal ولا non-metal? Hydrogen is a non-metal. لأنه hydrogen, it's a gas. Since it's a gas يا مريوم, for sure it's a non-metal. Impossible there is a metal which is a gas. So hydrogen is a non-metal. Okay? طيب. Let's continue. So again, I'm going to ask you, so why atoms are doing bonding? Why? The point, atoms, they are doing bonding because they need to have a full outer shell. Yani they need to be stable. They need to be stable. You got my point? They want their outer shell to be fully. What about metallic? Metallic bond, it's only metals. Well, it's not between a metal and a metal and a metal. No, it's only a metal. Yani let's say the bond in sodium, the bond in aluminium, the bond in magnesium. You got my point, Yani it's not between magnesium and magnesium. No, we don't have a bond between two metals. No, this is only for a metal. Yani what's inside? Same مثلا, like if I'm having any metal, what's the bond inside? Aluminium, magnesium, iron. So this is metallic. Like in between two substances, it's going to be ionic or covalent. Okay, and we will revise metallic today. Don't worry. I'm going to revise them also. Any confusion, inshallah, you're not going to get confused again for bonding. Take care, bonding. It's so easy. We are studying already bonding in grade 9, but the point is, a lot of marks. Yani this part is too many marks. A lot of students, they lose marks because of this topic. Take care. Type. Let's see our story. This is Mr. Chlorine and this is Mr. Sodium. And then what they are going to do, they are going to bond together. So why they are going to bond? لأنه both of them, they need to have a full outer shell. Let's see what will happen. I'm sodium, and sodium, it has 11 electrons. So since sodium is having 11 electrons, so it is 2, 8, and 1. But what about chlorine? Chlorine, it is having 2, 8, and 7. Okay, it is having 2, 8, and 7. So which number am I going to make configuration for? لأنه sometimes students, funny students, they are using the big number. Yani take care. If it is sodium, 23 and 11. Which number are you going to use? You need to use the small number. Don't go and make configuration for the big number. You lost. So take care. And when I do configuration, ya Farooh, I'm going to do for the small number and not the big number, ya Hamza. Yani I'm going to use the small number, 11. So it's 281 and 287. طب me as a sodium, I'm having 281. Yani in the outer shell, I'm having 1. Well, I need ya Mahmoud to be stable. So what do I prefer? I have two choices. Either to lose the one, or I can gain ya Lamar. I can gain 7 more. But for sure, I'm going to lose the one that's way easier. يبقى I will lose the one. طيب, what about chlorine? يبقى I'm going to lose. If you check here, I'm going to lose the one. طيب, what about the chlorine? The chlorine is having ايه يا لولي? The chlorine is having يا علي 7 electrons. يبقى this means I have two choices. Either I'm going to lose the 7, so that I'm going to have in this shell 8, okay? Or I can gain one more. For sure, gaining one more electron is going to be way easier. يبقى this means the sodium or the metals in general, usually they lose electrons. When non-metals always they do ايه يا ريتو? They gain electrons. Okay, so they can form, yes, that's true يا لوش. So this will make what يا تيمو? This will make ionic bond. طيب. Once the sodium will lose, the chlorine will gain. Am I going to draw it? إنه normally كده, let's try كده to draw. طبعا I can draw the outer shell only, or you can draw all the shells. You have two choices. Let's do it. If I'm having, this is sodium. Sodium is 281. This is chlorine, so it's 287. طب if I want to draw this يا حمزة, for sodium, I'm going to do ايه يا فروح? I'm going to lose the one. طب to lose the one, if I'm going to lose the one, should I draw the one? No. Either you draw يا محمد 2 and 8, or just draw the sodium and draw here a bracket and put plus. ايه ده? Why did I put plus? لأنه it was having 11 electrons و 11 protons. طب I lost one of the electrons, so this means the protons, they become more. يعني here it was having how many electrons or how many protons? It was having 11 electrons or 11 protons. طب I lost one of the electrons, they become 10. بس the protons 11. يعني the positive charge is more by 1. يبقى I need to put a positive charge. What about the chloride? Chloride, I will lose this electron, while chloride is going to gain one more electron. يبقى I need to draw this 7. So it's going to be a. Okay, Adam, it's fine, dear. So I'm having here chlorine. You need to draw the chlorine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you need to draw 8 as a dot. Why should I put it like this? لأنه I need to show إنه the electron is from sodium. It's not from the chlorine. يبقى I need to show إنه all the electrons for chlorine are cross, as an example, and I'm going to take one more electron from sodium, so I need to make it a different sign to show إنه it was not for the chlorine. لا, ده أنا I gain it from إيه مريم? From the sodium. Well, I need to put a negative sign. Why is this negative sign? A negative sign to show إنه I gained electron. لأنه I was having 17 electrons and 17 proton. طب I gained one more electron. يعني electrons become more. يعني negative become more. يبقى this means يا لمار I need to put a negative charge. All the time بقى, I'm going to tell you something nice so you remember it. Non-metals gain electrons and form negative ions. So all of them, they start with N, same like me. So non-metals gain electron يا فروح and form negative ion. So that's why all the time, the non-metal, they will form a negative ion. And the positive ion, the metals بقى, they form a positive ion. طيب, what we call the bond between the positive ion and the negative ion, it's an ionic bond. يبقى what's an ionic bond? This question is a very common question for Cambridge and Edexcel. Once this question is in the exam, what's going to be the answers? Miss, ionic bond, it is the bond between metal and non-metal. MashaAllah. 0 out of 2. Why? I'm so sorry. This is 0. Why? I'm so sorry. This is not a metal and a non-metal. It's not between Na and Cl. It is between Na positive and Cl minus. This is the bond. Okay? So it's not between atoms. It's not between a metal and a non-metal. Yes, هو المetal, it become a positive ion. When non-metal, it become a negative ion. So the bond is between positive ion and a negative ion. So this is different. يبقى I need to say it is the bond. First of all, when I want a definition for any type of bonding, today I'm going to say all the definition, atomic, ionic bonds, covalent bond, with joint covalent, with metallic. You need to start, whatever the type of the bond, you need to start by the attraction force. Yani when I ask you what's meant by any bond, you need to say it is the attraction force between positive ions and negative ions. Okay, you need to say this. Okay, but it's attraction force between positive ions and negative ions. Type. It's the same if I want. طبعا we're not going to take all the examples. لأنه I'm just revising the idea. طبعا إحنا in our normal classes we are revising every topic as a separate class. But if you feel you're confused about any of the bonding, you can just text me, or I can send you the record for this type of whatever the type of bonding you want. Okay? Now we are just revising it quickly. Type. Let's say magnesium chloride. Magnesium, it is 12, so it is 2A2. Well, I'm having chlorine. Every chlorine is 2H7. Okay, well, I'm having again another chlorine. So 2H7. So what am I expecting? Me as a magnesium, for sure magnesium is a metal. This is first of all. Sometimes I don't know who ionic. I'm going to tell you in the exam, draw dot cross diagram for magnesium chloride. I'm not going to tell you, is it an ionic bond or it's not, or it's a covalent. It's not a must. يعني I need to know, يا هبة. I need to know, is it an ionic or is it a covalent? How should I know? I will try. Where is magnesium? Magnesium is here. Where is chloride? Chloride is here. So one here, so it's an ionic bond. Another way, you can check here the outer shell. Here I'm having 2 electrons. If you are having in the outer shell 1 electron, or 2 electrons, or 3 electrons, يبقى this means automatic يا محمد إن this is an ionic bond. This is a metal. If I'm having here 5 electrons in the outer shell, not total, 5 electrons, 6 electrons, 7 electrons, so 100% it's non-metal. So this is a way, well, again with the periodic table, this is another way, so now it's easy. Why did we write the formula like this? Why did we write it MgCl2 and not MgCl? This is what we are going to know next Wednesday. Well, again, it's going to be a free class. So if you're going to join with us next Wednesday night, I'm going to show you why did we write the formula like this. What will happen? I am a magnesium. So I have in the outer shell 2 electrons. So I need to do what? I need to lose this 2. Who will gain these 2? Every chloride will gain 1. لأنه every chloride is having 7 electrons. So I need to gain 1. Every chloride is going to gain 1. Okay, so it is going to be magnesium positive 2, لأنه it lost 2, where every chloride is going to gain 1. So it's going to be a negative 1. Okay, I'm going to show you now. You see here? Romantic. It's a bond. You see, this is the sodium, this is the chlorine. So the sodium will lose, the chloride will gain. By the way, when they do a bond, we're not going to say sodium or chlorine. Since the chlorine is going to gain electron, we're going to call it chloride. It's an ion now. It's an ion. It's not an atom anymore. It's not an atom. It's going to gain, when an atom lose or gain electron, we call it an ion. This is the magnesium oxide. This is the magnesium fluoride. Same here. Magnesium, it's going to lose 2. Okay, and every fluorine is going to gain 1. That's why I'm going to write magnesium is positive 2, where every fluorine is going to gain 1. Take care. Sometimes, Real, can you please mute? Thank you. So if you check here, he draw all in the PowerPoint, it's drawn all the shells. Both are correct. If you want to draw all the shells, it's fine. You want to draw the outer shell only, it's fine. But take care, sometimes in the new exams, what do? They will draw for you, let's say for fluorine, the first shell, and then he will tell you complete the diagram. In this case, ya Mahmoud, if you didn't draw the other shell, you lose a mark. Take care. Sometimes he will draw, to make it a little bit confusing, he will draw the first shell only. يعني let's say he will draw this. Let's say he will draw this, and he need you to draw this and to draw the charge. Take care. Sometimes he will draw the first shell and he wants you to complete the drawing. But if he asks you to complete the drawing, you need to draw it as a whole. Okay? Something else. Usually draw one of them dot with the other one cross. لأنه it's named dot and cross diagram. So don't do both dots or both cross. Okay? One dot, one cross. Sometimes it's going to be more and more confusing. They are going to ask you about what? They are going to ask you about إيه بقى يا أدهم? They are going to ask you draw magnesium as a dot وفلورين as a cross. So if he asks you يا فروح, you need to do what he said. يعني if I'm going to make it specific إنه to draw, طبعا this is so silly يعني. It's not common honestly. But if it's going يعني you need to read the question once or twice. إنه if he asked you to draw the magnesium as a dot, don't go and draw it as a cross. Okay? طب he didn't say, يبقى choose anyone. Okay? We take care. If you forgot the charge, you're going to lose 1 mark. Okay? So the charge is really important. I hope this is clear. Okay? طيب. Our last part for ionic before we start covalent. طبعا we have a lot of ideas, a lot of examples, but as I said, I'm just revising the idea. For the structure, sometimes he will tell you, describe the structure of NaCl. Describe the structure of potassium iodide. يعني a metal or a non-metal. A metal or a non-metal. So what should you do? You just know, you need to know in an ionic compound, it's in the form of a lattice. What do I mean by lattice? You know, if I'm going to get any salt from the kitchen, you're going to find it's in the form of crystals. So since it's crystals, this is the lattice structure. It's in the form of Ali, crystals. NaCl, 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 same like this one. So when I ask you describe the structure for ionic bond, I'm going to say it's a lattice of positive, it's a regular arrangement of positive and negative ion, and they are alternating. What do I mean by this? يعني one positive, one negative, one positive, one negative. So it's it's the regular arrangement of alternating positive and negative ions, and as you see, it's arranged in the 3 dimension, as you see here. Once they ask a question, here طبعا when do we say this? If he asks describe الجاينت ionic or describe the ionic bond. There was a question which was so tricky. They put for you 4 choices for drawing sodium chloride. Once they put a sodium big, and once they put it small. Once they put it a positive ion, once they put it a negative ion. So you need to know, this is how we draw it. Okay? طيب, الصوديوم for sure is positive or chloride is negative. طب why did I draw here the sodium, a small one, with chloride as a big one? What's the reason? Why did I put this like this and this like this? What's the trick? الصوديوم, it was 2, 8, 1. I lost the 1, so it's only 2 and 8. يبقى this means يا محمد, it's becoming smaller. That's why always the positive ion will be smaller, when negative ion will be bigger. Okay. Our last part for ionic, it's going to be the properties for ionic bond. Number 1, you need to say it's hard. How the question will be, he's not going to come in the exam and tell you, Ya Luli, explain why ionic compounds are hard. No, it's not going to be that easy. He'll ask you, explain why magnesium oxide is hard. Explain why aluminium oxide is hard. Explain why magnesium chloride is hard. Or explain why magnesium chloride has a high melting point. So hard, same like high melting point. So how should I think? I should think, Ya Luli, by the metal and non-metal. يعني if Ya Mahmoud, one of them is here, with the other one is here, but this means, Ya Omar, it's an ionic bond. يبقى I'm going to say, any question related to melting and boiling point, it's hard or not, you will say, because a 2 marks question, because of the strong attraction force between the ions, so a large amount of energy is required to break the bonds. Once again, when they ask you about ionic compound, why they are why they are strong or why they have high melting point, because they have strong attraction force between the ions, so a large amount of energy is required to break the forces. Don't say don't say strong forces and that's it. This is wrong. You need to say inna between the ions. Okay? طب the second question, for sure it dissolves in water. لأنه once we put this crystal in water, the water will break all the ions. يعني it will separate the Na from the Cl. For sure it is soluble in water. لكن التريك هي الكوندكتيفيتي بقى. Does the ionic compound يا مريوم conduct electricity or it's not going to conduct? This is the part which is a little bit confusing. Ionic compound, they conduct electricity only when they are going to conduct electricity they are going to conduct electricity only in one case. What is this case? 1 minute, but I'm going to open the other PowerPoint. They are going to conduct electricity only in one case. Sorry, in two cases. When the compounds are it's going to conduct electricity when it is molten or it is aqueous. Only these two cases. Like if it's a solid, it's not going to conduct. I will show you now how. Check it out with me, this one. One for sure, I know it's going to be a little bit hard for you to check to focus in the whole class, okay? But any part that you're going to miss, for the ones who are going to attend with us, inshallah, revision classes, I'm going to record all the classes. Once, inshallah, I will know who are the students who are going to continue with us the revision classes. I'm going to make a group for the revision classes. Every class, I'm going to send the record without asking. And I'm going to put the record for every class. So for sure, it's really hard to focus مثلا for 2 hours direct. For sure, في some parts كده you're not going to focus with. If inshallah, for the ones who are going to continue, we are going to send the record so you can focus more about the topic. Or you can, if you want to see it again, you want to recheck it again, it's fine. This is the ionic compound. If you see here, NaCl and ACl and ACl, when it is all connected to each other's, it will never conduct electricity. When it's going to conduct electricity, if you melt it, okay, if you're going to melt it, this is an option. Or the other option, to add water to make it aqueous. Why? Here, the ions are not free to move, so it's not going to conduct. But when it's going to conduct, when you break this lattice, if you check here, you see here? Once you melt it, all the ions are free to move now, so it will conduct electricity. Okay? The other option, when it is aqueous. Aqueous, it means when you add water. When you add water, the water is going to break the ions, so it's going to move freely. That's why it will conduct electricity. Type. Let's move to covalent bond. Okay? I hope it's clear now. The ionic covalent, I feel it's easier. I feel the covalent is easier. But I'm going to show you about the covalent bond. When do I say in this is a covalent bond? In the exam, sometimes he's not going to tell you in this is a covalent bond. So how do I know in this is a covalent bond? How do I know in this is a covalent bond? When you find in both are nonmetals. It could be formed between 2 nonmetals, 3 nonmetals, 4 nonmetals. Okay, Dania? Where is my... So when I'm having, as I said, but here I'm not going to put any of them يعني had no more metals خلاص. All of them are from this side. So like hydrogen and chlorine, hydrogen and oxygen, hydrogen and hydrogen. So the covalent bond is way easier لأنه they are all non-metals. But it's a little bit easy يعني. It's easier. طيب why do elements do covalent bond? Again, because they need to have a full outer shell. يعني if I'm checking مثلا let's say hydrogen or hydrogen are non-metals. Take care, hydrogen is having one electron only, but it's a non-metal, as I said, it's an exception. So if this is the first hydrogen, it has only one electron. With this hydrogen, again, it's having one electron. So since here one and here one, this means in both they are going to share, everyone is going to share by how many? It's going to share by this one. No, يعني it cannot lose, it cannot gain, it's not going to lose the electron. One electron, it's not going to be empty كده without electrons. But this will share by one, and this will share by one. So both electrons will rotate here and rotate here. They will be here and they'll be here. They will be shared, sharing, caring, shared. يعني this means it is a bond between these electrons. But these electrons are going to pass in both. If you check here, you're going to find that the electrons D is going to be shared between them. This is called a single covalent bond. Why, Ali? لأنه every hydrogen is sharing by one. Okay, real, every hydrogen is sharing by one. طيب, what about chlorine? Every chlorine is having how many electrons in the outer shell? طبعا, before you think how many electrons are there for every chlorine, you need to think about the outer shell. طب outer shell is having ايه يا لمار? Is having 7 electrons. يبقى this means automatic يا حمزة إنه every chlorine need 1 electron. This is the tricky part. يعني when I have this question يا فروحة in the exam, draw chlorine molecule. All. I'm saying all. The students are going to get confused. Miss, how should I draw it? Miss, every element will share how many electrons? Don't think like this. I just want you to go get the periodic table is going to be given in the exam. Go check where is the element. Perfect. Where is chlorine? Chlorine is there. Right. What are the numbers for chlorine? 17 or 35.5. Which number I'm going to take? 17. اللي هو small number, not the big one. Small number. small number, if I want to do configuration, it's 287. If both chlorine 287 و 287, يبقى everyone في outer shell is having 7. يعني this means everyone is going to share by how many electrons? This will share by. يعني this chlorine needs how many electrons to be stable? It needs only 1. This electron needs how many electrons to be stable? It needs again 1. يبقى every chlorine is going to share by 1. يعني this will share by 1 and this will share by 1. Let's check كده. Am I going to both of them, they are going to be full or not? Let's see. Every chlorine is going to share by 1. But this means it's having 8 electrons in the outer shell. Well, again, this chlorine is going to have 8 electrons in the outer shell, so it is stable. This is again a single bond لأنه every chlorine is sharing by area 2 by 1 electron. In the exam يا محمود, how the marks are going to be counted? One mark to draw the electrons اللي هما they are shared. Let me check it out with me. These shared electrons, and one of them is a dot with the other one is a cross. This is 1 mark. With second mark to draw the rest of the electrons that you didn't use in sharing. This is the other mark. Well, usually بتكون 2 marks. So again, يا مريومة, I'm having in the outer shell 7 electrons. I'm going to use 1 electron only. في still how many electrons you didn't use? 6 electrons. Since there are 6 electrons, I need to draw here 6, so I need to draw here 6. But this is very important. Okay? Right. Let's continue. I'm going to show you كده quickly more than one example, then we will move to the giant covalent and then metallic. Giant covalent and metallic, they're so easy. They're not going to take time. For this, oxygen is having 2, 6. So this means in the outer shell, it's having 6 electrons. So how should I think, ya Mohamed? Think about the outer shell. How many electrons do I need to be stable, I need 2 more electrons. يعني I was having في الأوتر shell فأروح 6 electrons. يبقى I need 2 more to be stable. طب if I need 2 more يبقى I'm going to share by 2. Okay? If I need 1, I will share by 1. If I need 2, I will share by 2. طب if I need 3 يبقى I will share by 3. يبقى the point you share by the number of the electrons that you need to be stable. Okay? يعني let's say here I'm having 6 electrons in the outer shell. يعني every oxygen needs 2 more electrons to be stable. طب if every electron needs 2 more electrons, يبقى this means in every oxygen will share by 2. طيب perfect. طب if every oxygen share by 2, يبقى how many electrons are there left that are not used in sharing? You will find ايه يا فروح اهو. I'm going to find 4 more electrons here. They are not used in sharing. Again, 4 more electrons here. They are not used in sharing. So only here 2 and 2 will outer shell take care how I count these electrons. You will check here. I was having 6 electrons in the outer shell. I use 2 only of these 6. So 4 electrons are not used in sharing. That's why you draw here 4 or you draw here 4. Okay? Same for the nitrogen. Nitrogen is 2 and 5. يعني the outer shell electron is having 5. يعني this means every nitrogen needs 3 more to be stable. So that's why I'm going to put the 3 in the middle. طب في outer shell I was having 5. I used 3 in sharing. يبقى this means how many electrons more I'm not going to use in sharing? 2 electrons يا علي I didn't use in sharing. That's why I draw here 2, I draw here 2. HCl same, water same. Also this example مثلا let's say when I'm having 3 elements, sometimes the students they don't know where to draw the O, where to draw the H. Since the compound is named H2O, يعني I'm having the compound is named H2O. Since it's only one O with 2 hydrogens, يبقى for sure since it's only one O, يبقى the O is in the middle. Where both hydrogens are on the sides. يبقى all the time I'm putting, if it's only one element, you put it in the middle. With the other, you put it on the sides. Okay? So all these are easy, I think. I hope this is clear. This is again water. This is ammonia. This is methane. I think these are all easy. Hydrogen sulfide or carbon dioxide برضو is a very common question in the exam. Very common. The carbon dioxide double bond here or double bond here. Okay? لأنه every carbon needs in the outer shell 4. So it will share here by 2 or here by 2. طيب. All these single covalent compounds, what are the properties for them? All of them, طبعا these are physical properties. All of them, they don't conduct electricity because they don't have mobile ions or mobile electrons. They don't conduct. They are insoluble in water. They are having low melting boiling point. طب how the question will be in the exam بقى? He's going to ask you why oxygen has no melting boiling point? Why water has no melting boiling point? I will say because they have they have weak attraction forces بس between molecules. If you didn't say the word molecules, you'll lose a mark. يعني في ionic, you need to say between ions. In covalent, you need to say between molecules. So weak forces of attraction between molecules. So small amount of energy required to break the forces. But this is very important. طيب. One more question before we move to the giant covalent. أهو بصوا, this is iodine. If you check here مثلا iodine and iodine or hydrogen and hydrogen, this is one molecule, this is one molecule, this is one molecule. Okay, this is one molecule. You see here, the forces between the molecules, the forces between them are so weak. So all the time when you see the word molecule, you need to know يا فروحة and you're talking about covalent. Ions يبقى ionic. طيب, our last question for the simple covalent, these are called طبعا simple covalent compounds. Our last question for the simple covalent, what is meant by covalent compound or covalent bond? Especially Edexcel, all the time they are going to find this question, all the time. What's meant by covalent compound? I'm going to say it is the attraction force between nuclei of the atom, this is nucleus, so this is nucleus, between nuclei of the atom and the shared pair of electrons. يعني take care من definition. يبقى it is the attraction force between nuclei of the atom. أهو. It is the attraction force between the nuclei of the atom, nucleus يعني of this one and this one, and the shared pair of electrons. Okay, so this question is very important. But let's move. All these, as we said, simple molecular compounds or simple covalent compounds. Very simple. All of them, they have low melting or boiling point. That's why all of them liquids and gases. Now, what are the examples for the giant covalent? For the giant covalent, I'm having الgiant بقى هم specific type of covalent that are having high melting and boiling point. So I'm going to show you now. Okay, I'm going to show you now that giant covalent ones. These are easy, and if you want to, I'm going to say it quickly. I know it's easy أصلا giant covalent. I know all of you know it already. So I'm going to pass by كده quickly. The giant covalent compound هم only 3 compounds: diamond, graphite, silicon dioxide. What is the diamond? What's the structure? I need to know the structure. طبعا you know, all of you, in the giant, sometimes we call it giant covalent, sometimes we call it macromolecule. Both are correct. Diamond with graphite, they found in both of them, they are made of the same element. يعني diamond with graphite, it's made of carbon. But what do I need to know about every component of or every compound? And I need to know in the diamond what is the structure, the melting point or boiling point, it uses, conduct electricity or not. So for diamond, what should I say? For diamond, I'm going to say the structure is tetrahedral. Why do I call it tetrahedral? لأنه it is 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. But since it's 4 sides, I'm going to call it tetrahedral. But if I ask you, what is this? Is if I ask you structure. But if I ask you the melting boiling point, high melting boiling point. Very, very important, this part. High melting boiling point. يعني الdiamond is one of the hardest substance all over the world. يعني it is one of the hardest natural substance. So if you ask you, why does it have high melting boiling point? I'm going to say because it has 4 strong covalent bond, so large amount of energy required to break the bonds. يعني it's very easy to break it. Sorry, قصدي it's very hard to break it. يعني I need large amount of energy to break this bond. Okay? طب الdiamond conduct electricity or not? لا, الdiamond, if you check here, diamond is 6, so 2 and 4. If you check the outer shell, you're going to find it's having في outer shell 4 electrons. طب how many bonds did it do? It do already 1, 2, 3, 4. But since it's going to do 4 covalent bond, that's why it's not going to conduct electricity. When it will conduct, if it has 1 more electron, لكن هي already it used the 4 electrons in bonding. It doesn't have any more extra. Yeah, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, so no more. So that's why it is not going to conduct electricity. If you'll ask you why, you will say because it doesn't have, an outer shell already is having 4 electrons, so no more electrons, or no more free, don't say electrons, no free delocalized electrons, يعني no electrons that are free to move. Type next. If he asks you again, Niba, we said if he asks you why it's hard or why it's having high melting boiling point, I'm going to say because it is having 4 strong covalent bond, which needs large amount of energy to break. Okay, so the last part for diamond, what's the uses for diamond? I'm going to say طبعا for sure in all the jewelry, أكيد for sure. Number 2, cutting and drilling the rocks. Sorry, cutting the rocks and also in drilling. يعني في oil rigs, and if they want to dig underground, they use diamond. في oil rigs, you are going to find very small tips of diamond. لأنه diamond is really hard. يعني if I want even to break diamond, I cannot break diamond except with diamond. لأنه it's really hard. طيب, our second structure for today, it's going to be graphite. Graphite, it's going to be like this. It is called hexagonal rings. Hexa, why do we call it hexa? لأن it is formed, if you check here, hexa 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So hexa, it means 6 hexagonal rings. It looks like rings, where the forces between it is layers. It's in the form of layers. With the forces between the layers is really weak. That's why all the time, all the time, the layers of graphite, they slide over each other's. And that's why we use graphite as a lubricant. Well, that's why even the pencils, if you have any pencil, you can write smoothly. You feel it sliding above the papers. لأنه layers of the graphite, the forces between the layers are really weak, so that's why they slide over each other's. Is it going to conduct electricity or not? If you check here, this is the 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So every carbon is going to be connected, yani it's going to make 1, 2, 3. 3 bonds. It's going to make 3 covalent bonds. So that's why we said in the carbon it's having 6, yani 2, 4. But this means it's going to use 3 only from out of the 4. I'm going to say since it's having 4 electrons in the outer shell, but it only make 3 bonds and that's it. But this means there is 1 more electron that is free to move. So that's why the graphite conduct electricity. لأنه it's having 4 electrons in the outer shell, it used 3 of them, for 1 electron is free to move. That's why graphite conduct electricity. Ali is asking me, he's asking what's meant by lubricant. Lubricant, it means do you know when you are having your door, it's making a silly sound because of the friction. You know the sound when it all the time when you open and close, بيزيق كده. All the time it's making a sound that's not nice. So when you put a little amount of oil, you're going to find that the door will open and close without any silly sound. It is a lubricant. The oil is a lubricant. Here, the same for graphite. Graphite is a lubricant, so it's going to decrease the friction. You got my point? He will ask you why graphite is a lubricant or why graphite is used in pencils. I will say because the forces between the layers is really weak, so the layers can slide over each others. What do we use graphite in? We use graphite in pencils. We use it in the electrodes. And you are going to take later في electrolysis إن شاء الله نحن we use it in electrodes. We use it in batteries. So we have a lot of uses here. I want to show you بس electron. I want to show you how the electrons are moving. بصوا check كده with me. This is the graphite, you see? Every carbon is supposed to have 4 bonds. It made 3 bonds, but still there is 1 more electron that all the time it's free to move. This is the electron responsible for conduction of electricity. Miss, we will solve for the topic today. No, يا إيدو, not today, أكيد for sure. It's really hard to do the bonding and the past papers at the same day. This is very hard. No, we are going just to do the explanation. خلاص احنا we're done already. يعني we're about to be done with giant covalent. I'm going best to do quickly the metallic and that's it. Another class بقى, I'm going to do past papers إن شاء الله. My pleasure يا إيدو, my pleasure dear. So the last part is my last part for this one is silicon dioxide. Silicon dioxide, again, it's the same properties like diamond. Same, all same. يعني it's tetrahedral, doesn't conduct electricity. Giant طبعا for sure, high melting boiling point. Everything same. All same. The only difference إنه it's not made of carbon. لا, the 1 silicon connected to 4 oxygen atoms. This is the difference. Every oxygen connected to 2 silicon. لأن هما it's a big network. So every silicon يا علي it's connected to how many oxygen? 1, 2, 3, 4. طب every oxygen up is connected to 2 silicons. That's why it's a big network. And if you check here, oh, this is the silicon. Here is the silicon. It's connected to how many oxygen? 1, 2, 3, 4. طب every oxygen like this, if I'm talking about this, every oxygen is connected to how many silicon? It's connected to 2 silicon atoms. Our last topic for today is going to be the metallic bond, which is the easiest. That's why I kept it till the end, which is the easiest طبعا for sure. I know all of you know metallic bond, but we're going to do it quickly برضو. So we're done with the bonding. Next class, as I told you, we're going to revise the formulas. يعني طبعا برضو I'm going to write in the group, but mostly it's going to be at the same time, mostly next Wednesday. Again, it's going to be our last free class for the revision classes لأنه next class for this week يعني. ف I hope it's going to help you برضو لأنه formulas is really important. Well, as I said, if you need a record, you can just text me in the group, so I can send the record. طبعا for sure metals they are malleable, they are malleable, they are ductile. Malleable, it means it can be bent. Ductile, it means it can be drawn into wires. They are hard. Miss, do we have a revision class for organic? Yes, yeah, Ido, but there is a schedule. We're not moving random. I don't know if you are on in my group's chemistry lovers. I sent already the schedule. I sent the schedule with the days. Every Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday. So the revision, the organic is going to be at the end. But if you want, you can't wait يعني till the end. In my normal classes, tomorrow, inshallah, I have a class at night. You can just text me. Tomorrow, I'm going to start in my one of the classes organic. Tomorrow is going to be our first, but this is not revision class. This is normal classes. So if you want, you can just text me. I will tell you the timing. I will tell you the details. Yeah, let's do it. So metals are shiny, malleable, ductile. Malleable, it means can be shaped. Ductile, it can be drawn into wires. Yeah, you can use it in wires. And it have high melting or boiling point. But he is going to come and ask you, why do metals have high melting or boiling point? No, he's not going to ask you this. He will ask you, why does sodium have a high melting point? Why does aluminium has having high melting point? He's not going to tell you metal. لأنه automatic you're supposed to know since it's from this side, you need to know it's a metal. So it's a metallic bond. Since it's magnesium alone, not magnesium oxide, it is sodium alone. It's not sodium chloride. It's the metal alone, but it's metallic bond. So I need to say, because they have strong attraction force between at this time, positive ion and the sea of delocalized electrons. And you go, so this is the lithium aho. All the time I'm having lithium 2, 1. So you're losing an outer shell electrons, as you see here. But that's why they are always forming positive ions, as you see here. All the time they are forming positive ions. So when I ask you, why do they have a high melting point? You're going to say because of the strong attraction force between the positive ions and a sea of delocalized electrons, yani electrons that are all around, sea of delocalized electrons. Like this. If I'm going to ask, طبعا we use it in wires, we use it, a lot of uses, yeah. Our last question, metals, we have metals are always malleable. Like an ionic compound or brittle. But what's the difference between malleable and brittle? If you are going to have metals, why they are malleable? لأنه هنا يا علي, if you are going to do any type of force, if you check here, if I'm going to do a force, all the positive ions, they are not going to repel each other. They are not going to separate. No. Why they will not separate? لأنه electrons are surrounding them. They want to separate, but the electrons still connecting them. That's why they will slide over each other. They will not separate. So if you ask you why metals are malleable, metals malleable, I'm going to say because it is formed of layers that slide over each other. So 1 mark for the word layers, 1 mark for the word slide. My last question for today, what about if it is an ionic bond? If it's an ionic bond, so is it going to be malleable? No, it's not. Why it's not? لأنه if it is an ionic bond, 1 positive, 1 negative, 1 positive, 1 negative. So since positive, negative, positive, negative. So this means, when you do any forces like this, يا فروحة, what will happen? All the ions are going to be shifted. So instead, in the positive is going to have a negative below it, like this. It's going to be a negative, negative, positive, positive, negative, negative, and so on. So in this case, they are going to repel. If you check here, in the first case, there is attraction force between the ions. But in the second case, the ions are of the same charge. So they are going to repel each other's. That's why we call it, an ionic compound, they are brittle. يعني ionic compound, they are brittle. Why brittle? لأنه the ions are going, as you see here, it is positive, positive, negative, negative, positive, positive. When you do force, there is going to be a repulsion between the layers. So that's why it's brittle. Like in ionic compounds, they are malleable. Okay? لأنه layers slide. The last thing I want you to remember, and if he asks you, show by drawing the bonding in magnesium, or show by drawing the bond in sodium, or in aluminium, or in any metal, you need to draw 5. That's the best. You need to draw 5 columns and 3 rows. Okay? Then you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with 3 rows. This is the best. You need to make it as an organized one. Yani don't draw one big, one small. No, this is wrong. You need as much as you can to put it all of the same size. And you put electrons surrounding it. Yani I'm going to give you example. I don't know. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As much as you can, try to be the same size, as much as you can, and try to put electrons surrounding them. طبعا, all of them you need to write positive, like this. You need to write in these are positive ion. We need to write in these are C of D localized electrons. يعني it needs to be organized, same size, labeled. If he asks you, you may draw, يبقى it's better to draw. Okay? Voila, we're done. I hope this helped. Now, what do you think? طبعا we revised almost 4 topics. I know this is too much, but as I told you, this is just to recap كده, يعني just to make a quick revision for everything that we have taken. Or any student you feel you missed a part, you can just text me on the group for chemistry lovers if you're not one of the members, or on the Instagram page, or Facebook, or TikTok, or whatever. You can text me. It's better to join the page so you can know all the time when I put the class. مثلا when I put that we are having a class at 8:30 at 9, and when I do any free class, I always put on Instagram or Facebook or the chemistry lovers groups. I think this will help you. Okay? Thank you so much. شرحك حلو ما شاء الله. يا روح welcome يا لوجي. Thank you يا روح. Thank you so much. This helped a bunch. Thank you يا روح. Thank you so much. Wallah, miss, thank you so much for your time. It was amazing.
شكرا يا مس. باي.
باي يا عمر. مسومة, thank you يا روحي. طب that's good والله. I feel it's too much for you. I know. Ido, thank you so much, miss. تسلم يا miss. والله يا جماعة ايه ده الكلام الحلو ده. Thank you. معتز, thank you so much. This is so important and helpful. That's good. We really appreciate this. My pleasure, يا ريتو. What about the Romanian number like silicon dioxide? This what يا علولي, this what we said I'm going to do inshallah next Wednesday, so stay tuned. I know everybody is feeling very confused about the formulas. If you're going to join inshallah our class on Wednesday, it's going to be a free class for anyone. It's going to be way easier for you. You're not going to get confused about formulas again. Well, I can send you, if you want, if you are going to be on chemistry lovers groups, I can send you a PDF about the formulas before we start the class. Maybe this will help you. You're most welcome, Monsieur Mahmoud. Can I ask a question? Sure, ya Lamor, you can. Miss, will the recording be sent on the group? This is a very tricky question, ya Salloum. I don't know. Normally, ya Salloum, these classes are paid, so we're not supposed to send it on the group. But if you want me to send, I will. But this is for this week's classes. It's fine, no problem.
Miss?
It was amazing, and I'd love to continue these revision classes. How can I join the group? Anyone is there who has all the links of my groups, chemistry lovers? ولا no one? If anyone have my links في كده ساعات رنا. I don't think so she's there. في some students كده they have all my links. I can send it to you. I will get it now from the WhatsApp, or I can send it. Yes, someone is asking a question. Am I right? I will send you the link 1 minute. Yes, dear, tell me.
Miss, انت
We
كنت
sent it, Miss.
يا سلام يا محمود. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for helping your poor teacher والله. يعني ايه ده بس. He sent you everything بقى التليجرام واليوتيوب والانستا. احنا we need to add بقى the TikTok. This is the newest. Thank you so much يا محمود. I really appreciate your help, dear. Yes, sweetheart, tell me.
مس انت كنت عندك سلايد فيه تبع الايونيك بوندينج تبع الفلورين والمغنيسيوم وإشي زي هيك.
Yes, magnesium
انا
fluoride.
بس وقع مني شرح هناك كذا يعني تلخبطت شوي.
Why 1 minute. This was ionic compound. 1 minute.
كان في فلورين وكان لازم نرسم
No,
اثنين
no,
فلورين.
I'm just going to open it. 1 minute.
اوكي شكرا.
لا في روح. I'm always there for you. I just want to open, I don't know. Oh, here is it. Check. The magnesium fluoride, if you check, this one you mean. The magnesium is 282. يعني this means in the outer shell I was having 2 electrons. يبقى what should I do? I'm going to lose the 2 electrons. Am I right? For magnesium, I need to have a full out, I need to have 8 electrons in the outer shell. So how many electrons I'm going to lose? I'm going to lose 2. طب for fluorides, fluoride, every fluorine is 27. يعني every fluorine need 1. So every fluorine will take 1 more electron. That's why it's going to form a negative ion. لكن the magnesium is going to be positive 2. So that's why it's going to be positive 2. So you're going to draw for fluorine 7 crosses و1 dot. You got my point? لأنه every fluorine gained 1. لكن the magnesium lost 2. So that's why for magnesium I wrote positive 2, but for every fluorine negative 1.
تمام شكرا يا مس.
لا يا روح قلب المس. Hey. You're saying miss in a very cute way. Any others? No more questions? Everything is clear, mashallah. That's good, wallah. That's so good. Okay, I hope all of you, if you're going to join the group, inshallah, I'm going to send you exactly what's going to be the time for Wednesday class. As I told you, we're going to do formulas next Wednesday, inshallah, night. Again, it's going to be a free class. Inshallah, it will help you, same like today. If you need the record for this class, just text me on the group or Instagram or anything. So I can put for you the record if you want to revise it again. Do your best. Please keep going, keep motivated. Save your positive vibes as much as you can. خلاص, we are about to reach our exams. Do your best, please. This time is really important. I always say to the students, this is the most important time of the whole year. Do your best, please. يعني it's a challenge. Keep going. يلا, have a great night. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the ones who are joining, who joined today our class. It was my pleasure. It was nice to talk to you. Have a great night. Love you to the moon of black. Bye bye.